Atamari e koutou katoa ngā mihi nunui kia koutou ka tamai i tēnei ata, ki tēnei hui a Shivers. I see Peter's just whipped out the door, but mihi kia koe e te rangatira pita mō tō karakia whakatupira i tēnei hui. Kei reira tōnu pēr Brett mihi kawana kia koe mō tō whakaro mō tō tūranga kia koe te rangatira Sue mihi mai oha, mihi nunui kia koe ki te hanga i tēnei mahi tēnei hui. And also a mihi to my co-director Nigel French, who has become a koro lately, and he's been a koro, and he's allowed to be that. So you're stuck with me. That's okay. We'll charge through a few things, because I know that many of you have heard this kōrero before. Some of it may be new, but I'm going to take a wee bit of a different spin on a perspective of te niwha. Click. Very quickly, the name te niwha comes from a tungikura of Kingi Tāwhia, which was said at a time that there was a lot of things going on. And this tungikura is kia niwha te ngākau ki te whakau i ngā mahi atawhai. Be brave, be strong, be steadfast, and all the things that needs to happen. May not be popular choices, it may not be what we can immediately see as a solution, but keep going, hold fast to what it is that you need to do. So that's our ingoa te niwha. We have a vision and a mission to typically SIF-funded platforms are mission-led, but if you have no vision of where the destination is, then how do you mobilise your mission? So we've moved ahead with a vision in mind of where we need to ultimately get to. And I've just highlighted some words there. We need to be strong, we need to be prepared, we need to be unified in the things that we do together. Which, if I look at one of the objectives of our hui today, is strengthening and developing our collaborative efforts. We have our charter, which I'm not going to go through because Brett talked lightly about that. We'll cover it off in a very different way. So this is really just an example of our overall structure. We have guiders at the top, or to the side. We're guided by our steering group, we're guided by our co-hosts, we're guided by our advisory groups, we're guided by those that will give us high-level wisdom, and then we have those that will provide the rangahau or the research. Everything that we do in te niwha, that we will do, will be underpinned, overarched, embedded, grounded in the values. And I want to talk a wee bit about values and how it relates to Shivers and providing the perspective of one, collaboration, two, the opportunities ahead. And I'm going to do it in a pictorial form. These are our things, but we might come back to these. But here's the contribution anyway. So overall, we've got a framework that falls out of the values and the principles at the top. So if I can use process of pōwhiri, right, to describe the te niwha perspective in terms of collaboration and opportunities. So it was the first principle, our first po is tiakitanga, and tiakitanga can be summarised in a few words as to protect. It's to provide guardianship, it's to watch out for. So when we're talking about surveillance, we're watching out for the people that we look after, right? It means also hold and trust. So those people that we are looking after, they're holding in trust that we're good in our watching out for them. So if I think about a pōwhiri, we arrive at the gates and we're ready to do something together, interact. These are photos from our launch, by the way. You get welcomed on. There's a to and fro that happens in a pōwhiri process. On one end, we're saying, yeah, come in. The other end saying, are you sure it's okay? We can trust. You've got us through this process. So we go through that. And we both sit on opposite sides. And it's not so much who is sitting on each side, it's what we negotiate in the middle and what our understanding is. And that's all part of holding trust and protection and being guardians. The hununga is, we originally had whanaungatanga. Whanaungatanga means quite a different thing, and this is to embody relationships. Hununga is to be joined up, where we start to find a commonality in each other, and that gets discussed as you go through a pōwhiri. Typically one side will get up, doesn't always happen this way, say something, and you have a whai kōrero, because whai kōrero means to follow the talk, and we add bits and pieces to each other. And think about collaborations. Do we start off with something, you add something, I add something, and where do we get to following that? Some people put things down, we go through, we pick it up, but we carry on talking through that collaborative process, and then we reach an agreement, we get to somewhere. We may need to have cups of teas, we may need to talk some more, we may need to do some convincing, we may need to hear some more, but that's all part of the collaborative process, especially from the Niwha perspective in any case. So we've talked about what's our kaupapa. Are we about protecting, holding in trust, being guardians of whatever it is? We've looked at our relationship and what that all entails, and we're about ready to move into a partnership. So if I think about, I'm co-director tangata whenua. If I think about about a collaboration, we want a relationship, we want a partnership where we equally put into whatever it is. And so one thing I may put down is around surveillance. How have we lifted the leadership or built capacity within your partners to be able to partake in that surveillance process, whatever it is. Anyway, let's say we've joined together, we're in a partnership, and I'm sure we've all heard the whakataukī, he waka ike no, because we're about to get in a boat together, literally, like we get in a boat together to go and do some stuff together. So off we go, down to the awa, we get a bit of a safety briefing, we get some information, we're all clear about where it is that we're going to, because we've got a vision, know the mission, off we go. And the thing about partnerships and how we implement them is you have your leadership in there, like this fine young man here. And then you get into a waka. You don't always have the people that you want to have in your waka. But that's collaboration, right? Yeah, but worry about some people that you will have in your waka. But it turns out, okay, down the path, some of you may say, are you sure you got the right leader at the front of the waka? Maybe he should be at that, and I don't mean that literally. But we get in, that's the point of being in the waka. Because we're on a journey. So we can all paddle at different times. Some of you may have heard me say this already. The point about being in a waka is unless we touch the water at the same time, and we all know what we're doing with our hoi, and number one doesn't think they're number 5 rowing in a boat, but you're number 1, be number 1 and do number 1. But you've got a good mix in your waka. We're going to get down, we'll hit some currents along the way, and that's okay, as long as we're a team and we're in a collaborative process with being partners, and that we will hit currents, we will hit some challenges down the road, but we just have to keep on going. So the koha that I think that's the last one. That just sums it up in front of it. This is much prettier. So the summary is collaboration and opportunity. Huge opportunities from a Taniwha perspective. If we're going to be in the waka, let's do the good work to properly be in the waka together so we get to wherever it is that we need to get going. But again, congratulations on how far the Shivers has come, and thank you for your leadership, all of your leadership in this area. Ngā mihi.